So you guys, I got another exciting interview for you today. My guest today has, we did this actually, we were just talking off air. We did your first interview with me right after you joined our coaching program back in January. We probably did our interview. I know you joined December 2019. I think we did your interview in early 2020. And in your first full year of being a real estate agent, you were able to crack six figures. And so back with me today, I've got Mr. Blake Yunt. Blake, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely, dude. I love doing this. I love your energy. I love what you bring to our group. We, like we said, I think in that original interview, we would do this again a year from now. And man, oh man, time goes by fast. So remind people what market you're in, and this will be your second full year in the business in 2021. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep. I'm in Northwest Arkansas, which like the rest of the country is hot. We're one of the destination locations. People empty out of the coast. It seems like we're one of the places people are coming to. So no shortage of opportunity here. And, but yeah, this is my second year, full calendar year. I started in May of 2019.
Awesome. Awesome. And so like we were talking off air, I've got your numbers here. You finished 2020 making a little over six figures, over $100,000, your first year as a real estate agent, which, dude, I think you know, but I'll tell you, so many people in this industry, like that's their goal, right? If I can just make six figures, I'll be fine. And you were able to do that your first year in the business. And I want to talk through how you were able to do that, because the last time I interviewed you, Blake, it was when you and I first started working together, and you hadn't done that yet in this business. And now we're sitting here doing this a year later, and you've been able to do it. So I want to kind of rewind the clocks a bit and walk people through, what it was like for you to get started in the business, some of the early struggles, and then we'll kind of give people a picture of what things look like today.
Okay. So starting out in the business, which I'm sure a lot of people go through this, excited to get their license, excited to get started. You took this huge leap of faith to maybe leave your full-time job and go with this. And then things don't start happening right away. So there's a little bit of panic that starts to set in because you're used to a regular paycheck. And so that's how my career began. And so I just started, like nothing was happening. And it started to dawn on me that, oh no, there's no money coming in. So I just started trying everything that I could find on the internet, on YouTube. I was working, I'm door knocking, I'm doing some calls here, but I don't know what I'm doing really. And, but I will say through all of these disparate efforts, there was enough business to at least keep me alive. And this is from May until about, I would say sometime around Thanksgiving and towards the end of November in 2019. And what I started to do, I found you on YouTube, and what I started to do, because, and I don't know if this is agents specifically, but I'm extremely cheap, and I thought I could get away doing everything for free, just using what I found. And, but here's what's great about what you teach in your YouTube channel, especially, is I was able to put enough of the pieces together to start making phone calls and making contacts and going on preview appointments, to where I made some solid connections with people, and I kept following up. And by the time I called you guys in December of 2019, towards the end of December, it had been 1 month. And when I agreed to sign up to go with your program, I was sitting outside of a house that I had listed for sale by owner using what you teach on your program. And I had also picked up 2 buyers from that listing, and I did an open house over there. So basically doing the free stuff, I picked up a listing that went under contract and 2 buyers that I was able to quickly turn around and put under contract. And that kept me alive in this business, because I was almost I was almost gonna have to go back and do a regular job. And so that's why I picked up the phone and said, okay, let's go. So that takes us to when I really got in contact with you guys, because I knew what you were teaching for free was working for me to keep me
Yeah.
alive in the business. And I wanted to know more of what I could do to make that happen. But so I've gone from survival to now this whole last year, and we can get into however much of this you want, this last year, even though it's been the shutdown, coronavirus, all this crazy stuff, you know, one of the wildest years anybody could live through, that we all have. And I was able to go from surviving to thriving, which I'm super excited about. And that's part of what I want to share whatever you want me to share.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna share it all. And that's it's just a beautiful story, Blake. And so I want to go back to your first 6 months because there's so much learnings, there's so much pain within that first 6 months. This is where, because there's so many people, there's always like 1.6, 1.7 million active realtors. But so many get out of the business every year and so many new ones join. And most of the questions I think come in that first 6 months because there's so much pain. So I want to really spend a little bit of time here, and then we'll talk about what you're doing now. So that first 6 months, do you remember? Well, there's a lot of people out there telling agents to do a bunch of different things. And you had just said you were trying everything under the sun. There's all these shiny objects, there's all these distractions. And I'm taking the position, Blake, that in order for you to really succeed in this industry, you must play offense. You must go out there and reach out to prospects proactively. And if you sit around and wait for your sphere of influence, friends, passive marketing, Facebook leads, all that stuff, you wait around for that, you're going to be in trouble. Do you think that, what would you say to a brand new agent where they're hearing all these voices on YouTube, just like you were, telling them, oh, you don't need to pick up the phone. That's old school. That is total crap. Why don't you just do this marketing thing? Do you believe in that at all? Or do you feel like you've got to play hand-to-hand combat?
So I believe, and this is in general, that you have got to focus on things that you can control. And the way you teach it is detach from the outcome and put your energy into things that you can actually control, you can do, you can think, whatever. You know, we can get kind of off the rails on this kind of subject. But if you're going to go that route, the passive route, you're putting all of your eggs into the basket of things that you can't control. And
That's
that basket
exactly right.
is massive. It's a huge, so for every one thing you can control, I don't know the numbers, I'm not a scientist, but I'm betting there's probably 20 to 30 things that you can't control. So going on offense, what you're saying is, and even let's say door knocking, whatever you want to do, if you're
right.
more, you know, phones to me still are the most efficient way to do this.
Yeah.
But so I would say, you know, I can control if whether or not I'm going to dial. So that's control. I can't even control if anybody's going to answer, but we assume that that's going to be an outcome. So even somebody answering the phone on the other end is an outcome that I can't even focus on.
That's
but I can
exactly
control,
right.
you know, whether I dial, and whether I dial 1 or 1,000 people is completely within my control. And the more that I do this, I know the more that I'm going to get that outcome of people answering. And so when people answer, now what's in my control is my skill set. What do I say? How do I say it? More importantly, how am I listening? What am I listening for? And how do I react to that stuff? So, like I said, I can get really far into how I feel, and a lot of it, most of it, is what I've taken from what you teach is detach from the outcome, which means focus on what you can control and do that and do it really well.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, you're talking about the triangle of success that we talk about: mindset, skills, and action. Mindset, skills, action. What marketing does not allow to occur, to your point, is, let's just say an agent says, okay, I'm not going to make any dials. I'm not going to work on my skills. I'm going to do Facebook leads. Well, to your point, you can't control how many people see your ads. You can't control how many people click on your ad. You can't control if people are going to reach out. You're in no control. And that is a very vulnerable situation for agents. However, I think it's the path. Well, not think, it is the path of least resistance, because Blake, I think you would agree, we have marketers in this industry screaming from the mountaintops. Matter of fact, they put a lot of ads on my YouTube channel, on my YouTube videos, saying, don't cold call, buy this Facebook social media thing, and this is going to make you successful. But to your point, having an outbound lead generation strategy in your business, I believe, and I think you believe, it is what's required for you to win in this business. Because for the first 6 months, how this conversation came up, you were trying all kinds of things. And it wasn't until you put a system of outbound lead generation and prospecting in place, did you survive. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And I do think that a lot of those passive things are great supplements.
Right.
But I think the bedrock of your business, especially if you're new, and in my situation, I didn't have this fear. I didn't have anybody, I'm not from my market. So, to go in, and you have agents, and I've met agents through your program that will go from one place doing very well, they move somewhere else, and they can apply the same thing to somewhere where nobody knows them, and they build their business with this foundation of, like you say, outbound prospecting, going on offense. And all the advertising, all that's great, but to me, it would only be supplemental.
That's right.
To the real bedrock of your business.
Yep. I agree. Build a foundation of your business through outbound lead generation, outbound prospecting, and then later you can put in some advertising and some marketing and some videos and some social media content. That all comes later. So that's perfect. So you get through your first 6 months. We meet at the end of 2019 when you were about to call it quits. You were saying 6 months in the business. The second thing I want to bring up about that first 6 months is, Blake, I always recommend people having 6 months worth of reserves in their bank account. Yep. So they don't have to worry about money. They don't have to worry about the bills. Would you agree with that advice, or would you think it's something different?
I would absolutely agree with that. And in my situation, like I said, I was there. I was right there. And it was about 6 months that I would have been clean out. And then I had the 3 deals spin off of the one. So yes, absolutely. And there's no BS about that. I've even talked to some people about maybe doing a brokerage here in the future, and some things that we would recommend to new agents coming into it, because there's so much out there about, and you can see it on the Indeed ads, a limited income, all this and that, jump right in, training available, all this. But if you don't have it, if you're legitimately going to become a real estate agent, it is going to take at least 6 months to get the ball rolling. Even if you have a couple buyers that that you're going to help out right away, you need that reserve, because so much of the mind game comes in, and we don't even realize how programmed we are to expect these paychecks coming weekly, biweekly, monthly, whatever. It messes with you when that's not happening anymore. You may have plenty of money in the bank account, but you're not thinking about that. You're only thinking about the money that's not coming.
That's right.
So you might as well, that gets into mindset. But yes, have cash reserve, and however you can get that, please start with that, because it's going to at least give you a great shot at being successful in this business.
Yeah. And you brought up a lot of good points, because the other expectation that I set, that most people are scared to tell agents the truth because it would deter them from getting in the business. I always tell them, don't expect to make $1 for 6 months. If you do, great. But it's going to take 6 months for you to build a pipeline, because real estate is a delayed gratification business. We don't get paid for the work that we do until months in the future, where we're so used to, like you said, society has made us all addicted to that paycheck every week, every other Friday, for the work we've done in the past. So what you're talking about, the mindset, right? Going back to this, the success triangle, mindsets at the top. The mindset for new realtors is they're not used to not getting paid for the work they've already done. They're not used to not getting paid for the work they're doing today, and delaying that into the future. It's a very difficult for people to understand until they're actually in it. So I think you bring up a lot of good points. All right, so let's bring this up now. So we start working together beginning of 2020. You finished the year at $4.2 million. You gross over $100,000. Let's walk through, Blake, what you were doing to find success. Because in the beginning, and this was all by design, I had you go on a bunch of preview appointments knowing that you probably wouldn't get that much out of it. However, what you did get out of it was the learnings, because we talk about the learnings and the doing. I had to put you through that pain so that you could learn on what to do, what not to do, so that you could start taking listings. So let's talk about the beginning of us working together and then how that turned into listings later.
Okay, yeah. So joined the program, and then I immediately decided to I would take a week or so over the Christmas time to go ahead and study all of the materials, get everything ready. And I know it's easy to get stuck there, looking at all that. But I said, nope, I'm going to do this 30-day challenge right out of the gate, which is also something you recommend, just to break through it and start going, and whatever happens, happens, you'll figure it out. So 30-day challenge, and I believe I started January 2nd.
Okay.
And this is January 2nd of 2020. And using script 1.0, I was able to set appointment after appointment after appointment, and it ended up being a total of 27 appointments for January, preview appointments, where I'm talking to for sale by owners exclusively. Like, that was the only lead source I was calling at this time, were for sale by owner. And I was going and meeting with them, and one after the other, like I said, it adds up to 27. And I'm not turning, let's say the first 2 weeks, I think I did 12 appointments. And you have to remember, I live about 30 minutes to an hour and 15 from any action. I'm out kind of in the country where I live.
Wow. Yeah.
And my market is down kind of far away from me. So I'm driving all of this. So this is taking the entire day, every day, to do this. And there is absolutely no business coming in. So halfway through the month, I'm going on all these appointments. And there was a point there where I said, am I wasting my time spinning my wheels, or can I get something out of this experience? So I shifted from starting to have that doubt creep in, to where I start looking at the group and seeing some guys that came in ahead of me and the experiences that they were having. And guys like Tane and Byron, I think at the time, were really people that were active in it and doing these things, but they were a little further ahead of me. So I start looking at them, and they're turning things over. And I'm like, okay, so I know it can happen. And I'm not spinning my wheels, but so I need to learn how to turn things over like they're doing.
Right.
And so I really start focusing in on the conversations I'm having with sellers, the body language while I'm in their house, how I'm approaching them. I'm learning what to listen for, how to respond, things like that. To where by the end of January, I had gone on 27 appointments, and where I was scared and nervous and didn't know really what to say, when to present my materials, what to do on that first, second, third, all the way up to the 12th appointment. By the end of January, I'm talking to people in their house as the expert in the room. I'm able to respond to, because they're not like outright objecting or fighting with me, because the way that we speak to people doesn't invite that kind of confrontation.
Right.
It's so they're basically bringing up ways to ask me to help them with the sale of their home without actually. So I'm responding to them as the expert. I'm building rapport with them almost instantly, like this, by the end of that first month. And by the time February and March rolls around, well, now I'm starting to turn listings like those other guys that I was looking for. So
now let me pause right there. This is perfect, Blake. We couldn't have scripted this any better, because my question is, do you would have started taking listings in February and in March had you not gone through the pain of going on all those preview appointments and putting forth that work and learning what you've learned? Because the biggest thing I will tell you, and I think for most, and I think it was for you too, is not the scripts. It's actually listening for the opportunity. That's so hard to teach. That's why I want agents that first month to go on all those appointments so they can listen to what a listing opportunity sounds like. Do you think you could have bypassed that anyway, going back and doing it over again?
No, I do believe that with that volume, I would have stumbled upon things
Yeah.
that would have kept me afloat. But I don't believe had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have any clue, because the doubt, everything is so loud in your head. You're trying to figure out what you're going to say next. You're not listening to anybody.
Yeah.
But when you start to feel, and I guess the statement, and you would understand the import of a statement like this, is at some point, it just, I am a real estate agent, is what I started to say to myself. That started to be the conversation. And then it's like, I am the agent. And so I start showing up with a completely different feeling, mindset, and in my head, again, I'm detached from the outcome. I'm listening to the people now, and I'm listening for their needs, because they'll tell you in one way or another, they'll tell you what's most important to them. And
versus you going there always worried about, what do I have to say next?
And what's important to me.
That's right.
Right.
So that only way you could have built that confidence is by going and doing the reps and getting the opportunities and getting all that practice set you up to start listing properties. So we get into February, March of 2020. You start converting these into actual listings. Now, let's walk through kind of what the day looks like today. Like, what's an average day look like? How many appointments are you going on per week? And then what lead sources are you focused on today?
Okay. So, and I do things a little differently because of my proximity to where I do most of my work. I'm very, very, very picky about my appointments, and don't kill me, but I don't even track the appointments that I go on.
Yeah.
I focus on how many calls and contacts do I make.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. That's
let me add something really quick. Hold on. Let me add something. That, Blake, is by design. This is when we started talking off air. You should be picky and choosy now, because your skills are so much higher now than they were before. Whereas before, I didn't want you being picky and choosy because you sucked in the beginning. So you had to go, not you, Blake, everyone does when we first start.
Yeah,
so you had to get a lot of opportunities. You had to get a lot of at-bats. So I didn't want you to be picky and choosy. Now you can absolutely, with a scalpel, say, nope, that's not the appointment. You're better on the phone. You have better listening skills. You know when there's an opportunity, when there's not, what questions to ask, how to pre-qualify. You know how to do all of those things where a year ago you didn't know how. So you should be picky and choosy, for the record, but keep going.
Yep. So, and I also, let's get back to what my day looks like. So I tried to force myself to be the early riser and the this and the that. And it started eating at me because I couldn't do it. Like So anyway, I have my day broken up into 3 blocks, which from 6 to 9:45 a.m., I'll wake up, I'll slowly ease into my day. And that's it. That's my time. And then from there until 7 o'clock at night, it's business. So I sit down at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is a comfortable time for me. That's when I'm at my best, and I'm making phone calls. And my goal every day is 25 contacts, or 100 a week, because now I can track, and it's amazing. I actually wrote down the last 3 weeks of what I did, just in case we were going to share something like this. Because about every 100, and it's a little less now, but about every 100 contacts, I know there's going to be a closed deal somewhere down the road with every 100 contacts.
That's exactly right.
That's why it's my weekly goal. And so that's what my day looks like. And most of the time it takes me about 2 to 3 hours to make those 25 contacts. And I try to do that in 4 days. That way on the 5th day, I can catch up with paperwork, all this stuff that I need to do, because I haven't hired an assistant yet. There's stuff that I'm not ready for. There's dudes and ladies in your program that are just they're doing stuff that I'm like, that's so cool, things like, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I'm still
Well, that's
we have a
okay.
baby on the way, things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what my day looks like. And my success factors are, my exercise, my diet, and my prospecting, the dials that I'm doing. And if I do those three things right, and I'm keeping care of myself, and also maintaining my commitments to my family, then I've had a great day.
And
And
that's your winning the day checklist that we talk about that are all
absolutely,
inside Blake's control. That's the key
absolutely.
to today's interview. For all of you guys watching, if you listen to what Blake's saying, he's designed his whole life around things that he can control, and he doesn't worry about the things he can't control. And by detaching from the outcome, great things start to happen. Now, what lead sources are you working today?
I am working. I still do for sale by owner all the time, absentee owners, and started to call likely to sell, and but of course expireds, and then for rent by owners as well. So there's five lead sources that I call every single day.
Now, in those 25 contacts, are they split up pretty evenly throughout those 5 sources of business?
Yeah, we have a ton of for sale by owner opportunity here.
Yeah.
And so my proximity, it sounds terrible that it's like, 30 minutes to an hour, 15 away, but it makes me, I believe, the only agent in this market that's calling 4 different counties. So I'm looking at 4 different counties worth of for sale by owner and calling them. And then I'm kind of equidistant from everywhere.
Yeah.
So I look at it more of as an advantage than anything. So tons of for sale by owner between the 4 counties. Not much is expiring here.
Right.
I have listed a few expireds. What I'm finding is they're generally overpriced and maybe a little bit difficult to deal with, but we can talk to them and maybe make something happen. So that doesn't like bother me. I'm not nervous about it at all. But I've had a ton of success with absentee owners. And I put another thing that I can control is my level of service and attention to detail. And
That's right.
I'm starting to turn referrals off of that because I put so much focus onto that once I do start working with somebody.
And that's just the beautiful thing about having a business like yours and ours, because once you start building a business that you're in control over, you start having a referral based pipeline that comes in on top of the new business. And this is where we see an agent's business keep growing year after year after year. And the beautiful thing, still only doing 25 contacts a day. That stays the same, but our skills grow. Our conversations get better. We convert higher. We're getting referral. We're getting repeat business. So Blake can stay doing 25 contacts a day, but every year he's going to keep doing more. So what is your goal for the rest of 2021? You did 4.2 last year. What is your goal this year in 2021?
So I did 4.2 last year, and this year closed. I've got 2.25 closed already, and then
nice.
Between my listed and pending right now, there's another 2.5.
Wow.
That should go. So by the end of the first half of this year, I will have surpassed what happened last year. My goal was to be over 7 million this year. If I really wanted to get excited, I was going to do 8.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, I want to do 40 transactions and 8 million. But I kind of got hyper focused on that detached from the outcome thing. And I started looking at those as outcomes.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I am so happy to be doing something that I want to be doing. And during our last interview, I told you, Brandon, all I really want to do is spoil my wife and kids.
That's right.
And I'm in a position to do that. In fact, this Mother's Day, we're super excited to be able to do something for my wife that I've never done before. And then the kids are seeing stuff like that too, because I've got 4 sons, and any day now I should have a daughter born.
Awesome.
So, all of these things, my overarching goal remains the same, and that's to be the patriarch of my family. And then kind of show them the way of success, something that was never shown to me or available to me as a child growing up. So definitely something like this, what I'm doing right now, is the first time it's been done in my family. And I'm like just super excited. And that could mean 500,000 a year, or it could mean my 6-figure. If I make 100,000, I'm happy because I can build on that and pass it on to the rest of my family, and I'm super excited to do that. So when you talk about goals, I'm very vague about them, and that became something that I was okay with because of this philosophy of detaching from the outcome and just focus on the things that I can control every single day.
Beautiful, man.
And that's helped me in business. That's helped me with my family. That's helped my health. Everything. That philosophy has changed my life in every way.
I love it, man. I mean, I am just so grateful, and I think and honored, I think would be the two words I would use to be in relationship with you. I mean, the story that we just told, from struggling getting out of the business to breaking 6 figures your first year, probably going to double that your second year, potentially break 200,000 your second year, spoiling your wife and your family. I mean, this is why we got into this business, was to live a life that, Blake, you're living. You are going to inspire so many people with that story. And I really mean that, dude. I guess, what last piece of advice would you give to maybe somebody like you that, they're thinking about quitting, they're having that doubt creep in, they're like, I don't know if I can do this. What piece of advice would you give them to turn things around?
If I haven't driven the point home about detaching from the outcome, because I know that's where I think that's where most of the failure lies, is this obsession with the end. And you can't jump straight to the end. You have to understand the things that need to go on that you can do. And I share this with the group all the time, that I am in a unique situation. I'm working from a closet at home.
Yeah.
And I'm completely alone. I'm sitting in there, but I'm sharing things with this group. And if you can find a supportive community like that, because real estate is, at the end of the day, a very lonely endeavor.
Very.
Find a group that's supportive, a philosophy that you believe in, and just hammer it home every single day and do the activities. By doing the activities, you're going to build the skills. By building the skills, you're going to build your business, and just keep going with it, and don't give up ever.
Man, oh man. I don't, that's so powerful, man. You just gave me goosebumps. I cannot thank you enough, Blake, because again, you're such a positive force for good inside of our group. Look at what you're doing now with these interviews, pouring back in the industry. Your future is going to be amazing. And I'm sure your family's grateful to have you as that leader of the family, as a father, as a husband. And I really mean that, man. I want to do this again in a year with you, and we'll continue to work closely together. And I really appreciate you, man, for real.
Yeah, no, thank you, Brandon, for everything you've done. And yeah, I'm excited. This time I can say for sure, I will be here in a year from now.
That's right.
1,000%, no doubt in my mind.
I love it.
And I have you to thank for that. So thank you.
Yeah, dude, no worries. And so great interview, man. Thank you so much, Blake. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm sure we'll see you on some coaching calls, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you.